Bourbon Real Talk community member Kyle Farmer asks, why is that exciting new whiskey I keep seeing everyone post about not available in my state? Well, I know the reasons why, so if you want to hear about it, then stick around.
First off, before we get too deep into it, we have to thank our Patreon members. Without you all, it wouldn't be possible. This podcast is not free to produce. And all of you out there that are purchasing merchandise on the Bourbon Real Talk website, and those of you who've decided to support us monthly through our Patreon, we thank you so very much. But it's not just support. We do try to give back some member benefits. We have bonus content in there, special offers, distillery takeovers, barrel picks, in-person meetups, monthly virtual bottle shares, discounts on merchandise, massive discounts on merchandise, early access to special sales and things like that. And you do also get the satisfaction of knowing that you support the channel and its mission. So we just want to thank all of you out there. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about the reasons why that whiskey you're interested in can't be found in your state. Well, first off, you need to understand that we are subject to the 3-tier system. And that means that when a manufacturer has a product that they want to sell in a state, it is illegal for them to sell it to the stores in that state. They have to find a suitable wholesaler, and that is not always an easy thing to do. So not all wholesalers are equal, right? Because what you want in a wholesaler is somebody who's going to go out and promote your product. They are going to go to bars and restaurants, and they're going to go to liquor stores, and they're going to bring samples, and they're going to have the decision makers taste those samples, and they're going to convince them that your product is the next big thing, and that organization is then going to buy some of your product and start to expose customers to it, and that's what you want. But a lot of wholesalers, because they have a legal monopoly, you can't do it without them, they promise you that they're gonna do all of those things, but really they just handle the logistics of moving the bottles around, and they expect you as the brand owner to be the one that's bringing in the sales through your social media or because you have a local sales rep, and they just really want to fulfill the orders that you generate, which was kind of screwed up because they make more money per bottle than you do in most cases. And so you've got this middle tier that is, required by federal law. They make more money than the person who actually created the product, and they don't really do their entire job. So part of the reason why you may not find it is because they just don't have the right wholesaler, or they couldn't find a wholesaler in your state that could convince them that they were gonna do the full spectrum of service for the prices that they were charging. And so that's one of the reasons. Another problem with the wholesalers, they might specialize in another category of alcohol. Maybe they have great numbers and they have great success, and so they attract you, but they really specialize in wine, or maybe they specialize in like tequila, and they're not really focused on your category of spirits. And then there's some wholesalers are focused on chains and box stores and not so much on the mom and pop stores, which that's typically where you're gonna see the new, smaller special releases is the mom and pop stores. And so if they don't have a lot of those relationships and they really just cover their budget by selling to Total Wines and Specs and the large retail chains, you may not get the love that you need on a small, limited edition release. And it could also be that the gross profit is too high to hit SRP. And so there are some instances where I have a wholesaler that charges this amount margin in this state and a wholesaler that charges a lower amount in another state. And then you've got differences in state excise taxes that we have to pay. And there have been instances, and there will be instances in the future, where the Prideful Goat decides not to release one of its limited editions in a particular state because it would be significantly more than the suggested retail price that we are going to be able to hit in other states. So your state may actually be the reason why you're not getting what you want because they're charging so much in taxes. So overall, wholesalers generally suck at their jobs, and they're too busy with other higher priority brands to really focus on the smaller guys. They'll back shelf products sometimes,
where you come in and you go, hey, I want to come to your state. And they go, oh, yeah, we'll represent your brand. And their entire objective is to keep you from competing with their other higher priority brands. And so they put in their initial order, which is typically small. They throw it in their warehouse. They don't tell their salespeople to sell it. It just sits in the warehouse and it doesn't sell. You can't sign with anybody else in the state because you've already picked a wholesaler, and they have effectively eliminated the competition for another brand that they actually care more about. That is a serious problem. There's state issues, as we mentioned. Taxes can be too high. There are franchise states, and that is a situation where once you pick a wholesaler, you can't get out of the relationship without a lengthy, expensive legal process. And as I've already mentioned, with all these problems, potential problems with a wholesaler, if you are a smaller brand, like the Prideful Goat is, you may not be prepared to sign permanent arrangements with a wholesaler in a state because you don't have enough experience and you're not bringing enough to the table to become one of their high priority brands. And so it's too big of a risk that they're gonna sign you and then they're not gonna do the full spectrum of work that you need them to do. And if you wanna switch to somebody else and give someone else a chance, you can't. And then there's control states. So many of you live out there in control states, and that is effectively where the state government controls the distribution of alcohol. In many cases, the control states are effectively doing the second tier of the three-tier system. They're the wholesaler. They are the ones that handle logistics and delivery to the retail bars and restaurants, but they don't really do the sales component. And so often in a control state, you can't really go in until you can say to the state that you have boots on the ground. You've hired some local representation that's gonna go out and make sure that the inventory that the state brings into their warehouse is gonna have buyers so that it cycles through, because for control states, the sale of alcohol is a major source of revenue. And they don't wanna pick up products that are just gonna sit in the warehouse either. So if you can't show that you've hired somebody, and often a good sales rep is, 6 figures. And if you can't show that you've hired somebody to focus on that state market, they won't pick up your product. So you may not be getting what you want because you live in a control state. There also are states that the reporting requirements for a producer are very onerous and very difficult to figure out. And that's a major issue when you're a small guy, because all of the big distilleries, they have compliance departments that they make sure that all of the reporting is taken care of, and you report all your franchise taxes and all that stuff. You report all of your excise taxes. But when you're a small guy and you're worried about production and bottling and blending, you may not have that kind of support. So when you start to look into going into a state, if they make it really difficult with the reporting requirements, you may decide, hey, we're gonna put this off for a little bit. It could be a logistics cost issue. If your distillery is somewhere in South Florida and you're trying to get whiskey to, say, Alaska or Hawaii, it may cost so much money to get product into that state that even if you could find a wholesaler and proper representation, you're gonna be so far above your SRP compared to other states that are closer to you that you decide, hey, for now, we're not gonna do this. And the most obvious explanation as to why you may not be able to get the product is there may not be enough product, right? A lot of distilleries, when they're doing these limited edition releases, they're gonna age them for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And when they are making the whiskey, they have a certain amount of demand. And then later, when the release comes out, they have much greater demand than they did when they were planning the product, and they simply didn't make enough. And some smaller producers specifically want to win in their own backyard before they go try and conquer the whole world. And so a great example of that would be JT Mellick that we've worked with in the past. They wanted, full market penetration in Louisiana in their own backyard before they started looking at going into other surrounding states. And when they do look at expanding, they typically are looking for the states that are the closest to save money on logistics and keep their product affordable on shelves. Overall, all of these things can create a supply and demand issue. And unless a distillery has a time machine, and no one does, to go back and make more and get supply back up to where it would need to be to match demand, you're just going to end up with shortages.
Ha! I knew I was a bigger Bourbon Real Talk fan than you.
How do you know that?
Well, because I don't just use a prideful goat, Glenn. I got an official Bourbon Real Talk tumbler.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I got this Bourbon Real Talk lanyard to carry my whiskey glass in.
Oh, well, speaking of whiskey glasses, do you have one of these?
No, I don't.
Rocks glass.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, official.
Well, I love my wife, and I bought her this official whiskey wife flask from Bourbon Real Talk.
Well, that's cute and everything, but I got my wife one of these.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and
Well,
you can just add your own liquor, and it's an actual cocktail right there in a jar.
Me and my wife like to make cocktails, so we got this simple syrup off the website.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you and your wife have one of these? This is an official sticker. You can only get these on the website.
No, but I do have these official coasters that have the Bourbon Real Talk logo on them, and I'm representing.
Well, while you're representing those little coasters of yours, I've got an aroma kit.
Do you?
Yeah, so I can smell literally everything in bourbon. Everything.
Well, I don't have that, but I do have this sample box that I keep all my samples in because I'm part of the community and I share samples.
Yeah, but do you have Glen toppers that are officially Bourbon Real Talk?
I don't have that, but I do have this large whiskey carrying case for my glasses so that I don't break them.
See, I knew you had that. That's why I have this, the smaller version, okay? It packs more easily into your suitcase. I don't have to mess with that big old thing, okay?
Suitcase, that's for lamos. Check this thing out. I have a Bourbon Real Talk bottle carrying bag. You can't beat that.
I don't know if I can because...
And on top of that, I have a Bourbon Real Talk t-shirt. I'm the bigger fan.
Oh, I can beat that. Is it extra schmedium?
No, I don't have an extra medium.
Ha! Extra schmedium.
You might be the bigger fan. You win.
I knew it.
So whether you're a Bourbon Real Talk superfan or simply looking for quality whiskey swag, head over to bourbonrealtalk.com today.
So you've got uneven distribution based on something other than current demand. That's another issue. And so a great example of that would be here in Texas, we get a ton of Weller product. In Louisiana, they get a ton of Blanton's. But you might be in another state that has much greater demand per capita than Texas or Louisiana for those products. But the producer continues to distribute their product based on percentages that were calculated long before current demand. And so you could have trouble finding certain products just simply because distribution is based on something other than current demand. So the solutions for you as a consumer would be you need to check online retailers, companies like Reserve Bar, Seelbach, Bourbon Outfitters. They're all reputable retailers and they carry a lot of smaller brand products and they're able to mail directly to your door in as many as 43 states. So most producers who are growing market share, they want to reach out of market customers, but they may not be big enough or have the resources to do the whole country. And so working with a retailer that has legal online distribution, that is an excellent solution. The list does change in what states are they allowed to ship to. I know that they just changed the laws in Alaska, and Alaska used to be able to have Washington, D.C. retailers ship directly into the state. They changed some laws and it went away, but as of the time of this recording, there are 43 states that I know that they can ship to. And I know people, when you start to look at online retailers, you go, oh, the shipping cost, it's so high, it's $20 for the bottle. But typically, especially for the retailers that are based out of Washington, D.C., that's the only area where you don't have to have a wholesaler involved and the producer can sell directly to the retailer. So they've cut out a layer of expense, and usually most producers will work with an online retailer to lower the price available online so it's lower than standard SRP. And so you're saving a little bit of money per bottle, and because of the interstate commerce clause, you're not paying sales tax. So if you have sales tax in your state and you get a little discount on the bottle, it is entirely possible that if you buy multiple bottles, because the cost per bottle of shipping goes down significantly as you add bottles to your order, that you're getting those products shipped to your door for less than you would have paid at a local retailer anyway. So that would be my recommendation. If you're not finding what you want local, check out some online retailers. I hope this was useful for you. We here at Bourbon Real Talk are trying to get the word out about the generosity of the whiskey community. And so to say thank you for watching this video, I am going to give away this bottle of single barrel from Hotel Tango. And the reason why I thought this would be an excellent giveaway is because
This is a very interesting whiskey, but it's not distributed everywhere. So this would be one that you may have seen some posts about it. We did the single barrel selection in Someone Say Whiskey. There were lots of posts about it. Lots of people love it. It came with these dog tags because there is a history of this brand attached with veterans. And so we put some dog tags on it and tatered it out a little bit. And so one of you is gonna be the lucky winner of this bottle. All I need you to do to enter to win is I need you to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I need you to react to this video. I need you to comment on this video. And then in the video description above, there's going to be a link for you to enter to win this bottle. And once we've closed this giveaway, it'll just say this is closed there and you won't have the link anymore. And all you gotta do is click that link, fill it out. I will run a randomizer and let everybody know who the winner is, and I will mail this bottle out to you absolutely for free just to say thank you for watching. Also wanna say, if you wanna support this channel, of course, we talked about Patreon earlier. We'd love for you to consider joining Patreon, but I'd be derelict in my duties if I didn't also mention that I'm a real estate agent. And if you need real estate services in the Dallas or Houston metro areas, feel free to reach out to me. That is another great way to support us in what we're doing, because I do have to subsidize the channel with my regular income. So if this is your first time watching, I would love to thank you for the view and let you know a little bit about our show philosophy. We are all about bringing people together around bourbon. And that's something that's important to me because I lost my brother to suicide in 2014. And I saw that part of what led to that level of hopelessness in his life is he had lost a lot of the social connections around him. And I wanted to find a way to bring people together so that no one had to feel alone the way that my brother did. And I saw the connective power of whiskey. And that led to the formation of Bourbon Real Talk, the podcast, and Bourbon Real Talk Community, the Facebook-based whiskey group, where we facilitate those types of connections. And we do it all in a troll-free environment. So you can get in there and not have to worry about somebody telling you that you deserve to die because you like a whiskey they don't like. We don't allow any of that stuff in there. And if that information is shocking to you, yes, there are a lot of whiskey trolls out there that show hate online in a lot of online forums. But those people taught us something very valuable. And that is that if a stranger can hate you online, there's nothing that keeps us from loving you online. And that's why we end every episode the same way. And that's this. If you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anyone loved you, just know that we love you. We'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk. Whiskey troll is a person who seeks negative attention and uses contrarian attitudes to derail civil discussion in online forums. They communicate in ways they never would face to face because they're keyboard warriors. Their only goal is to make other people feel inferior.
Hey guys, I'm new here. I just got my first Blanton's.
And trust me, you probably paid way too much.
I don't care much about the Blantons, but nice.
There's no way that she didn't buy that at secondary. Idiot.
Oh, I know how you got that bottle.
So, are you sick and tired of the whiskey trolls running your fun online? Well, that's why we started Bourbon Real Talk Community. Congratulations. Let me know what you think when you open it up.
Hey, welcome to the group. Let me send you over a sample of Blanton's Gold and straight from the barrel. See how you like those.
I remember back to my first bottle of Blanton's. It was the birthday to my son, and we enjoy it every year on his birthday. Congrats.
So if you're looking to connect with some people online who aren't, head over to facebook.com and join Bourbon Real Talk Community today.